You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
Otherwise known as Chat Lives Matter Day, right here live on KLRNradio.com. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. She's the other half, Miss Stacey Lennox, and you are listening to the Whatverer Show live right here on Chat Lives Matter Night, the opening act here. Don't forget, after us, we do have this month's offering of Toxic Masculinity, followed by the Ladies of Red Wine, and then Ordy and I will be your nightcap for the evening. Which means I'm going to be working my ass off for the next 4 hours. Yay me! Anyway, how are you, Stacey?
I'm fine. Just pissed at Facebook.
Yeah.
It wouldn't let me log in because I tried to log in previously.
Okay. What? Yeah, so...
Is this you? Yes, it's still me. It's always been me.
Well, Facebook and I currently have a love-hate relationship because I guess they figured out that I have now a professional account and a personal account. So then I started getting all these pop-ups about how my personal account was what they consider a wide-reaching account, and therefore to protect my account, I had to turn on two-factor authentication. And then if I didn't do so, eventually they were going to lock me out of my account. So I just said, not doing it, and then day before yesterday, went to log into my personal Facebook, and it said, we're sorry, this account has been locked. Please activate two-factor authentication. So I guess they made me do it so I could get back into my personal account. But
apparently I'm not a far-reaching personal account.
I've never heard of that, and nobody pays attention to my personal account, so I don't even really I mean, dude, I can put stuff out on there, and it's like crickets, so I have no idea what they're even talking about. I get more of a reach on X still than I do anywhere else. So, and I don't even really have enough reach over there to monetize very well yet. I'm working on it, but I can't seem to figure it out.
I should save this until tomorrow with my show with Al, which will be at 9 a.m. So we're going to do a morning gardening show, which should be interesting. But I'm finding this lovely little community on Facebook of young people who are homesteading and raising chickens and making sourdough and wanting to learn to can and homeschooling, and it's really, really doing my heart good.
Yeah,
they get it.
It's people learning that the government doesn't matter.
It's the people hating the government and saying the government really isn't going to take care of me, so I need to know how to milk a cow. I need to know how to do this because if I want to have a family, there's all these adorable little families that are homesteading that have 5 or 6 kids. I'm like, you guys are all lying about the AOC effect. It's not as big as you think it is. I mean, I'm working with all these young ladies that are on baby 2 and 3 and they're not even 30 yet. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing about it is, when you do nothing but subject yourself to this all day, every day, like I unfortunately kind of have to do now, you start to believe the wrong parts of the arguments instead of going to look for the things that disprove the arguments, and that's why I'm glad to see that groups like that are popping up, and there are plenty of people that I know that are starting to get into the whole prepper idea and the making sure there's enough food on hand, learning how to grow your own food, learning how to take care of chickens, milk cows, things like that. Because the pendulum, whether anybody really wants to admit it or not, is starting to swing back the other way. Because the people that are in charge on both sides have just gone too far with all of it. Everybody's starting to figure it out. The question is, have they figured it out in time? That's becoming my burning question. Because in my opinion, we are dangerously close to things being to the tipping point, to the point where somebody from another country is going to step in and say, we're going to help you guys fix this shit now, whether you want us to or not, which is what they've been trying to do the whole time anyway. I've been trying to tell everybody that for a long time.
Well, it's just I couldn't be any more excited. I mean, I'm talking about young ladies, on there talking about, hey, there's been all these catastrophes coming towards us. Here's what they did in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. And now they want us to believe this. Are you kidding me? And it's yes, we did a good job, Rick. Gen X raised Gen Z, and they're very skeptical.
Well, the funny thing about this is Gen X raised Gen Z, and then now Gen Z is starting to raise Gen Alpha. And if you've seen the stuff coming out about Gen Alpha, they're basically Gen X reincarnated. They're outside doing all the shit we used to do that we're lucky we lived through. And I've been so happy
Yeah.
to see it.
But I mean, for us, like this, like tiny little generation that had these kids, we were still like, go outside and play. and like people around us weren't doing that anymore. Like the older boomers that had, or the younger boomers that had young kids and whatever, they were all still inside being super managed. Older millennials that had kids, they were all still like keeping them indoors and everything else. And now it's just like the Gen Z that was told to go outside and play is like, go outside and play, go get dirty, you know? And unfortunately, Gen X sent their kids to public schools. They know how screwed up public schools are, so they're like, no, screw this, we're homeschooling.
I mean,
and I love it.
It's just terrifying to me to realize that what took things going this far, as quickly as it did, was the fact that a bunch of people behind the scenes decided they were going to see how far they could push us to basically give up everything all at once, a la 2020. And here we are 4 years later, and everybody's like, no. Just no.
No, but it's heartening me so huge. And I mean, I talk to these young parents, and they're like, vaccinate my kids? Screw you. Like, I'm not sticking this juice in my kids' veins and whatever else. And I'm like, this is amazing. I love this. Like, they don't trust big pharma. They don't, like, the pandemic did such a number on people, I would say 19 to 23, that now that they're like 23 to 27, they're like, oh, hell no. Well, it had the exact opposite effect on Gen Z that it did on, I would say, the mid-millennials.
Oh no, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. And the funny thing for me is, the millennials that have reached child rearing age, that were getting behind the scenes peeks at everything that was going on at their kids' schools, and they're like, what the hell is this? And that's why you now have this whole rise in the idea of homeschooling. And I mean, now there's like homeschool co-ops, which I'd never heard of before. There's like parents that get together, and they like have different parents that teach on different days, and they get together and they have after school activities, and they have all these different things. And I'm like, now see, this is American ingenuity at its finest, and this is what we need to get back to.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm to the point where I'm willing to, like, actually volunteer to help them, and I don't even have any kids. Like, I'll give free time. Like, I'll come in and teach history. I'll take the Barton's book and teach history the way it's supposed to be taught. You know? Like, I will literally come and volunteer my time to help you guys do this.
You're gonna have a bunch of kids calling you Miss Stacy. I can see it now. You're going to have a bunch of kids calling you Miss Stacy. I can see it now. Miss Stacy.
It's not even that. It's like I have the time. I have a certain amount of knowledge. We're part of the generation that this all kind of, like, they fooled us, Rick. We thought we were sending our kids to the same kind of schools that we went to, where you learned American history and you learned stuff and you took shop and you took home ec and you did all these things. And all of a sudden our kids get to high school and we're like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on, right? The pandemic comes, we saw what our kids were actually exposed to, and I feel a little bit responsible for helping their generation fix it.
As well you should.
I mean, I feel like I should do that as part of, like, wow, I got the wool pulled over my eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you mean.
So, I mean, I just feel like, okay, I have a flexible schedule. I could agree to do this, teach this kind of class on every Thursday, or I could agree to spend the mornings there on Thursdays and Fridays because maybe some other parents can't. Like, there's things I can do that I think would help. And I'm willing to do them. I think it's important.
I think it's a great idea.
So, anyway, that's just my opinion.
And a good opinion it is.
Hey! I woke up and thought I was still dreaming.
Why? Because Turtle Boy said bye-bye?
Yes, that was the top alert on my phone. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, Turtle Boy gave a heartfelt speech in front at the Senate well today, talking about how he was stepping down as Senate leader in November and would help, of course, usher in whoever the new leader is. And then
no ushering, just go.
Well, he's also
just go.
He's also mentioned that he will not be giving up his Senate seat.
Well, if you drop dead, you got to give up your Senate seat. Well, I haven't seen anybody do it posthumously yet.
I mean,
except Dianne Feinstein for all intents and purposes.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the primary reason he's stepping down as Senate leader is he now has no obligation to endorse Trump.
But he's still going to be there through November.
Yeah, but he now, as the Senate leader, or the soon-to-be former Senate leader, feels no obligation to support or endorse Trump, and I guarantee you that has something to do with it. Those two cannot stand each other. Whoa, hello, wormhole.
That's not a comparison.
I think that power to internet ratio thing we were talking about earlier reared its ugly head again, because you just sounded like you were from Star Trek the Motion Picture.
That's because Cooper decided he had to go out, of course.
Okay, yeah, because it was literally sounding like the wormhole scene from Star Trek the Motion Picture. And we're back to that again, so I'll just hang out here for a second.
The joys of doing live radio when I'm home alone with two dogs.
Woohoo! Fun times.
Woohoo! Anyway, all I was saying is I think he's made some comments to the effect of, Trump would be better than Biden for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Well, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for the bad health report to come out or something, because dude's clutches slipped like twice live on air. I mean, granted, it's nowhere near Biden levels yet, but it's getting close.
No, you know what came out yesterday?
What came out yesterday?
The new book.
Oh, you talking about that White Rage one?
No, Blood Money.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that either.
No, this is Schweitzer, Peter Schweitzer. And he goes through all the China connections to Gavin Newsom, to the Biden family, to the McConnell family. He is an equal opportunity offender. And there's some I watched the interview that he did with Beck on the book. Wow. Like, the fact that Peter Schweitzer isn't dead tells me he has really good security.
Yeah,
I mean, he's gone after the Clintons, he's gone after the Bidens, he's gone after McConnell, he doesn't care who's doing it. He runs the Government Accountability Institute, and he's going to get all of them. And there's a huge section in there about the McConnells. And if I'm not mistaken, Elaine Chao's sister was murdered recently, and there were rumors going around that had something to do with the family's Chinese connections.
Why would that not surprise me?
I'm just saying. We lost someone. We lost Rick.
Huh? Who lost Rick? What are we talking about?
You bounced out of chat, dude.
I did not. I'm still in there as far as I know.
Well, you bounced out of my chat. Maybe you just left my chat.
We talking about chat or weird?
KLRN chat.
It did close. I didn't close it though. Hang on.
I'm like, you gone.
I didn't close it though. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm buying it. Al. I haven't bought it yet. I read his one. It's on my bookshelf. Where is it? I can't see it. Where is it? What is the last one he wrote? The last one he wrote was about Above the Law wasn't them. This is on trial. Fallout. I bought it. Oh, Profiles in Corruption. Abuse of power by America's progressive elite.
Well, that doesn't sound terrifying at all.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Look what I still have. The Suicide of the West by Jonah Goldberg.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's not as bad as owning a copy of Liberal Fascism by Jonah Goldberg.
Oh, talk about becoming what you once fought. Good Lord.
Oh my God. I love trolling David French. I love trolling Jonah. And every once in a while, one of them will actually respond to me. Yeah. David got very mad at me when I pointed out, him saying drag shows were a blessing of liberty. Well, I did accuse him of wrapping himself in Jesus to insult people who actually believe in Jesus. He didn't like that very much either. He offends me to no end. I am so offended by David French. It's hard to express how offended I am by him. I think Jen Rubin is just ridiculous, but David French, literally made bank off of the people that he now insults on the reg. And it's just, it makes me so mad.
It's all good. I still think that Jen Rubin should follow her last name's ambitions and just start making sandwiches. But what do I know? Oh. So, another little interesting piece of information, that your friend Bruce that likes to send all the gross food stuff that I'm now being subjected to put out. There's been a report released recently about the rise in the number of myocarditis cases after the COVID-19 vaccination. In 2021, there were...
No!
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, 223 times higher than the average of all vaccines combined for the past 30 years. This represents a 2,500% increase in the absolute number of reports in the first year of the campaign when comparing historical values prior to 2021. Apparently, according to demographic data, it revealed that myocarditis occurred most in the youth, 50%, males 69%. A total of 76% of cases resulted in emergency care and hospitalization. Of the total myocarditis reports, 92 individual dies, which is a total of 3%. Myocarditis was more likely after dose 2, and individuals less than 30 years of age were more likely than individuals older than 30 to acquire myocarditis. So, can we just, come to terms with the fact that everybody tried to shove Agenda 2030 down our throats? Because we are the carbon they want to reduce, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, they are.
But, yeah, it's just, so much fun realizing that your government's out to kill you.
So, well, and places like Google, so they're AI.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to want to bring that up. Oh my God, that's been such a fun story for the last several
$90 billion in lost market value within days of that shit hitting the news.
Oh, I'm still dying.
How long have I been saying Google used to have a logo that says "Don't be evil"? They just took the "don't" out of it.
I'm just laughing at George Washington in blackface. I was dying.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, so how biased do you... This is what Dr. Richard Epstein has been saying for years about their ephemeral experiences. They have had years to perfect the bias in their search, right? That's just as bad. You just don't see it as glaring, right? Their AI, they released it too soon. We have to get Google out of the schools, dude. They're tracking our kids. They're building a digital them. I mean, get these iPads, get all this free shit out of the schools. There's a price for it.
Yeah,
and the price is the brain of your kids.
Well, I mean, again, I think this is why there's been such a sharp rise in homeschooling and this idea of, school voucher programs and everything else, which, of course, everybody on the left is diametrically opposed to. But it's one of the things that I've been trying. I mean, you and I have been saying this for forever. I've been saying it for as long as I've been doing things like this. The simple fact of the matter is, the state, meaning the federal government at this point, wants to control your kids from the moment they're born until the moment they die. And if you don't get in their way, they're nearly there, because that's pretty much where we are. I mean, how many different people have tried to sound the alarm about the differences between Google's interfaces and search algorithms for kids versus for adults? And how many parents didn't know until people started talking about it, that one of the reasons you now have 30% of people below the age of 18 believing they're either pansexual or gender biased.
Which is not a thing.
I still blame American Pie for the whole pansexual thing. Just saying.
I've never seen it.
Dude had sex with an apple pie. That's the closest thing I will ever admit to having somebody be pansexual, is that they try to have sex with a pie.
Which is baked in a pan, so that's where we are?
Yeah, that's pretty much where we are.
Okay.
But no, I mean, so there's this whole, I mean, even one of my nieces has apparently decided that she's non-binary, and I'm like, I don't really...
No!
Yeah, I don't really know.
No!
I don't really know how to handle that.
No, because there is a sexual binary and you are either one or the other.
Unless you're a mutation, and that's part of my problem.
Well, and I mean, the thing that truly bothers me is that forever, back to ancient times, and as long as we've had written history, we know there are people, male and female, across a wide range of gender expression. We have always had effeminate men, and we have always had manly women. Okay? They're still women. They're still men. It's like everything occurs on a bell curve. The tails have always been there, but making the tails the average is not the right way to go.
You would think, but, you know.
No, it's really not the right way to go. And can I just say the study that has recently come out and said, gender-affirming care, not life-saving. The meltdown is epic.
You know it was only a matter of time, though, because everybody's acting like this stuff is new. These things have been around for 2 decades at this point. We're now the second generation into this, so you've got people that were part of the first generation of this that were told, by counselors and psychiatric professionals and everybody else, if we get your outward appearance to match your inner appearance, you're going to feel better. And now these kids that had all this done to them are old enough that they're starting to put out books and everything else. They're like, no, this is the wrong way to go. Trust me, it didn't fix anything. But I mean that's why the thing that pisses me off about all of this, right, is we went to war to throw the British off of our continent in 1776, and then we've done everything we can to emulate them ever since, and we're usually a decade behind them. And I don't understand why. We went to war to get rid of them. Why are we still letting them influence our culture? I don't get it. But even they're starting to realize, because they started this curve even earlier than we did, that none of this...
Oh, they're rolling it back.
Yeah, exactly, because they started this curve even earlier than we did, and they're looking at all the repercussions, and they're realizing that, everything that they tried to do in the guise of being more compassionate did nothing but basically destroy their society.
Well, and I mean, it destroyed the lives of young people. It made them sterile. It gave them mental health. It didn't solve the mental health issue they were trying to ameliorate. I mean, the idea that not being able to accept the gender you're born into as anything but a mental illness is actually absurd.
Well, I mean, and part of what pisses me off, and I got in all kinds of trouble the other day because I started going at this freaking priest who was all up in TL talking about how LGBTQ plus whatever rights are rights, and I'm like, look, dude, as soon as you added the T and the plus, you lost me, because transgender isn't a thing. Plus includes pedophilia, so of course...
Not only is transgender not a thing, Mr. Priest, it's a heresy.
And that's what I was about to say. These people that are basically trying to put the idea out that you were born in the wrong body or you were born with the wrong gender you're basically slapping the face of every doctrine that anybody with a faith believes in, because the Bible says God doesn't make mistakes and everything happens for a reason. So if you're saying you were born in the wrong body, then you're basically committing heresy. Especially if you're a Christian. Now, if you're not, then you can call it whatever you want. But if you're a Christian and you're teaching one of your children that it's okay to believe that you were born in the wrong body, then you are actively committing heresy against your faith.
But I mean, there was actually a group within early Christendom that tried a similar heresy, and they were obliterated.
Oh, if only life was the way it was then, the way it is now. Because we used to get rid of the stupid. Now we embrace.
Well,
it.
and I'm not saying just not. You don't have to get rid of the stupid. You just ignore and don't buy into the stupid, and it goes away on its own.
I'm slowly becoming a fan of removing all the labels and letting Darwin sort it out, because we've tried compassion for too long, and it's allowed.
But it's not compassionate. Like, if you were ever trained to care for people from a mental health perspective, you were never taught to reinforce the hallucinations of a schizophrenic. That would be the opposite of compassion. So why are you reinforcing somebody who literally has no grasp on reality?
I have no idea. Apparently the website's being dumb right now.
Really?
I have no idea what they're talking about. I guess they're looking for a link to a book. I don't know.
Do we have an Amazon affiliate account or something?
I do, but I know Jeff has been doing one specifically for their book stuff, so I usually try to leave that stuff to him for the most part. I think that's what they were trying to do, was see if Jeff was around so he could share the link. But,
oh.
Yeah, I started one for the station a while ago, trying to see if I could get a few extra pennies coming in so we could start doing things like trying to put money towards the whole merch store that I've been promising to do for a decade now. And I haven't done it yet.
Ooh, Al and I should use the affiliate link for gardening stuff and baking stuff and canning stuff.
You could.
We could. Al, we should get the affiliate link. I know how to use one.
Oh. I think I can add you guys to mine. I'll have to look. I think I can actually add more than one person. But the thing about it is I have to have a certain number of orders within a certain amount of time or they kill it, so I'll need to look. See if I've passed that point yet or not, because once I get past a certain point, I think I can add other people to the links that we use. I will look into that probably on Friday, because tomorrow I'm going to be riding pretty much all day, because the fire on the property put me way behind this month, and I have 10 articles to write in one day. I'm gonna die. But I'm still trying. Anyway. But yeah, so good news. Turtle Boy go bye-bye. Not soon enough, but Turtle Boy go bye-bye. I was kind of hoping he was going to announce that he was just leaving altogether. Because, he's been basically worthless the last 2 years. I mean, I get it. Everybody's singing his praises today because he's stepping down, and everybody's like, if not for Mitch McConnell, we would have lost the Supreme Court, we would have lost this, we would have lost that. And I'm like, dude, I absolutely don't trust any of our institutions anymore, so as far as I'm concerned, he didn't save anything. We now know the FBI and the CIA colluded to destroy the Orange Man in 2015. We know this. There's a paper trail. We now keep seeing reports after reports after reports with all these FOIA requests of all the weird shit that happened in places like Michigan in 2020. Nobody's talking about them, though. And then when anybody tries to bring it up, well, the court said he didn't actually lose. Do you trust the courts? I don't trust the courts. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump right now. That doesn't mean I want Lord Spraytan to be our nominee either. I'm just saying, can we be honest about the fact that everything we believe in is broken and figure out where we go from here? Because the country that we thought we were growing up in died a long time ago. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's why, but I mean, here's my thing. That's why, That's why they hate the normies that go to Congress. That's why they hate the Marjorie Taylor Greens. That's why they hate the Lauren Boeberts. That's why they hate the normies. The people who are not career politicians, the people who are doctors like Rand Paul. That's why they hate them. Because they go there and they see the bullshit and they call it out.
Yeah, and then they do everything they can to make them seem crazy and excoriate them so nobody listens to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through this over and over and over again. Lather, rinse, repeat. I don't like saying this, but it's something that I've been coming to terms with more and more often. I have to admit, how you open the show is helped dial me back a little bit, because at least there are pockets of resistance to the bullshit. But I really am starting to think that I don't know how we fix this without there being some sort of a revolution. Because everybody on the left is fomenting revolution right now. They want evolution. They want revolution through Hamas. And now I saw a video yesterday of the Communist Party of New York City protesting and marching in New York City. And I'm like, didn't we go to war to kill these fuckers? And they're here? I don't know how to be nice about this anymore. I just don't. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Well, I don't know.
Hey.
I sat there this week, and I can only view a certain amount of news like for 3 days a week, right?
Yeah, I know.
And so you go to catch up, and you're looking at something, and then you're just literally stunned. So we have some lunatic that the Air Force actually accepted, who happened to be a flag-flying radical communist, who decided to pull an Arab Spring, a Tunisian food vendor, and light himself on fire.
No. You're missing the headline. He identified as a charcoal briquette, and he got to live out his dream.
No. The problem that happened after that is the radical left is lionizing him. They're making a martyr out of him. They are doing for this lunatic, this mentally ill individual, okay? They're doing for him what ISIS does for suicide bombers. All right?
Well,
that's a problem. The radical left, we have passed the signposts in history where the radical left in these United States is now putting ideology over life. Not just in the womb, but after you're born. It was only a matter of time, and they got there.
Oh, yeah.
It is a culture of death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. And that's again, part of...
Okay, but how long before the next radical leftist loon looks at the lionization of this kid and decides to walk into a shopping mall in Alabama strapped up with a bomb?
Oh, well, I think that may have already happened.
Or a NASCAR event, or somewhere else they perceive a bunch of Trump voters go.
Apparently there was an explosive device outside of the AG of Alabama's house, so I think that's pretty much already tried to happen, by the way.
No, that's like blowing up a person. That's not somebody walking into his house and blowing up himself and the AG.
Yeah, but...
Okay, a bomb at the AG's house is bad enough. But when you have people martyring themselves for an ideology, explain to me how that is any different than radical Islam.
It's not.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that has to be the point that we as people on the center and, conservative right have to make over and over and over again.
Are you playing with a squeaky toy
Not
or
only,
do you have a new bird?
No, that's Cooper.
Okay, I'm just checking. It sounded like you had a new bird. I was about to ask its name. Then it dawned on me that it was a squeaky toy.
No. One thing we are not going to have in this house is a bird.
Well, meat chickens, but those shouldn't be in the house.
Well, yeah, chickens are birds, but they're not like birds. But I mean, they want to turn your children into activists. Well, what do they now praise activists doing? Setting themselves on fire. They literally would be okay with your child setting themselves on fire for their political gain.
Well, of course they would be.
But now we have proof. We used to say that. No, that's a conspiracy theory. Or you're taking that a little far. No, we're not. This guy just set himself on fire, and they're treating him like a prophet.
I think my favorite part was the dude with like the Muslim name on Twitter being mad about how you can't hijack planes anymore, and apparently letting yourself on fire is frowned upon in this particular establishment. I'm like, not really. They didn't stop the last guy.
He's a real dude.
No, I know.
He came here and he got a degree or something. He's not an American citizen, but yeah, no, he wasn't kidding.
No, I know he wasn't kidding. But yeah, my whole point about it was it still made me laugh because I was like, well, they didn't actually stop the last guy who identified as a charcoal briquette, so go ahead.
Well, I know, but the whole thing for me, Rick, is simply this, right? This is where moral relativism has gotten you. There are some cultures that are better than others. Our culture and Israel's culture happens to be better than the Palestinian culture and the Iranian culture. They are not the same.
Hey, Stacy.
Yeah?
There are horses on the highway.
I know. Did we get that clip?
No, I need to, but I haven't gotten it yet.
There are horses on the highway.
Oh, I just kind of felt like you needed a woo-saw moment, and I thought that might work.
No, but it's just like the more and part of this is I had Hamasniks on my TL for 2 days. They learned a new word, Rick.
All I got told was I was an asshole.
When you explain to them, in the Bible they refer to this area called Judea. That's where the Jews come from. Stop telling me they're colonizers. They've been there for over 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And so, now they've come up with, but the Canaanites were there first. Okay. And what in the fuck does that have to do with the made-up group Palestinians who are actually a bunch of people from Syria, Lebanon, and Egypt who got exiled because they lost the war when Israel was established? Like, what does this have to do with this made-up group of people?
Absolutely nothing, but it lends credence to their idea of Israel being...
Yeah, the Canaanites, if I recall, were completely wiped out because God said so.
Well, the next time you get one of these raging, Islamist idiots on your TL, just ask them how many times the Quran mentions Israel, because it's at least 7.
I just want to ask, go find me a Canaanite. And then I'm like, you people are so fucking dumb. You would not be able to tell my Israeli friends from a Palestinian if it was going to save your life. They all look Arab. They all have dark skin. They don't all look like Ashkenazi Jews who were the diaspora who went to Europe. I promise. It just drives me. Like, there have been Jews in the Middle East forever.
Yeah, it's kind of, they're God's chosen people, so obviously...
Oh, well, then why is it the Ashkenazi Jews who are such big Zionists? Maybe because they were in Europe and they were the ones who got the most killed during the Holocaust. Maybe that has something to do with them wanting a Jewish homeland, you fucktard. And why don't you have a problem with a Muslim theocracy? Because they're all over the Middle East. Why doesn't that bother you? Oh, simply because you're just anti-Semitic. That's really what this is about. Oh, they get so mad when you say that.
My favorite one is when you have all these people that'll come out and they'll say terrible things about Christians. And then so you're like, okay, now do Islamists. And they're like, we can't because Islam is an underrepresented religion and therefore it's a protected class. I'm like, that's not why.
Okay.
That's not why. You don't want to die. That's why.
I'm like, Muslim is not a religion. I can't be racist for insulting radical Islam because while many Muslims are Arab, not all Muslims are Arab. Some of them are Persian. Some of them are black. Some of them are white. So, like, Arab is a race. Muslim is not. Muslim is a religion. I am criticizing the precepts of said religion, and it has nothing to do with their race.
You know what you can
There are Muslim Arabs. 20% of the people in Israel are Arab Muslims who are not radical. Who would prefer to live in Israel than an established Palestinian state. So it has nothing to do with being Arab. It has to do with being radical. Can we just get like that? That's what it is. People drive me nuts. But the stupid and the Hamasnik crowd is just like, well, the Canaanites were there before the Jews. Really? All right.
Yeah.
You know who was a Jew? Jesus.
Yeah, and the indigenous.
You know how we mark time? From the day he was born. Stop.
Oh.
Like, oh my God.
Well, that's why the people that don't believe that Christianity's an actual thing have changed why and how we say those things, because now it's BCE and something else because they've changed they've changed all that. I don't remember what the AD one is now, but now they've added extra letters because they're trying to move away from the whole BC and AD.
Well, it's kind of like I heard somebody, I forget if this was on a Jordan Peterson podcast or where the hell I heard this, but it actually cracked me up. So now you got all the geniuses, right, in the world of physics and other, talking about everything being a product of intelligent design and living in the simulation. Okay, who runs it? Might you want to call him God? You're actually granting the premise at that point. And you don't even realize it. You think you've come up with something unique.
Anyway.
I'm not kidding.
Wait.
Does that blow your whole podcast?
No, I got distracted by a shirt that Al posted because I'm trying to figure out if I recognize who's wearing it.
Do you know who's wearing it?
I don't recognize the face, but it's somebody doing a podcast and the t-shirt says, sorry, no hablo fucktardo. Now I'm jealous that
I should put that in my Twitter profile.
Now I'm jealous that we didn't come up with that one. Because, yeah, that was actually what I was going to say. You know what you pretty much can call every Muslim? A fucktard, because it's true. And it's not racist.
It's not even, to me, it's not even all Muslims. It's just radical Muslims.
I've read their book. There's really no such thing as a not radical Muslim. There's just Muslims pretending they're normal till they decide they're not. That's my problem with it, is I've actually read the Quran. It's one of the most violent religious books ever.
I know, but the Bible has its moments too. We just reformed.
Yeah, well, that's the difference, though.
Like they need like somebody else to come.
Well, that's
like we had Jesus.
Well, that's just it. There's been no reformation for Islam, so it's impossible for me.
Well, but they need to embrace Jesus. Jesus is in their book. They just need to start listening to Jesus.
But if they listen to Jesus, then they're flying in the face of Muhammad, who said that Jesus was just another prophet, not the son of God. So
that's fine, but, well, I mean, you can't really, because Muhammad came later. It's all just very confusing, but they need to reform.
But that's my problem with everybody that keeps saying, Rick, you're lumping everybody together. It's just the radical Muslims. All right, so explain to me the difference between a radical Muslim and a non-radical Muslim when they read the same book and there's been no Reformation. Because I can understand where the crazy-ass Westboro Baptist people are coming from, because they're latching most of their shit from the Old Testament. That's why I keep telling them that they're wrong. That, yes, those precepts still matter, but we now have a bridge back to God through Jesus, which allows us to move past most of these things, as long as we accept Jesus, believe in Jesus, and do our best to not sin again. That's the difference. There's been a reformation of the Jewish, the Christian faith between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Because in the Old Testament, God was a vengeful motherfucker. He was. I mean, look at Lot's wife.
Well, he needed to be.
Well, look at Lot's wife. I mean, he needed to be. And that was exactly my point. But the thing about it is, there was a softening of how our faith works with the birth, the life, and the death of Jesus, because Jesus showed us what it was like to live a perfect life. And that's become our benchmark. So this is my issue. Islam is still rooted in 7th century bullshit. There's been no reformation. Their book plainly tells you that it's okay for you to lie to people that don't have the same faith as you. Their book plainly tells you that you can murder people that don't have the same faith as you. There's been no reformation. None. So the whole idea that there are peaceful Muslims, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that fact, but my question is, why are they currently being peaceful? Because at some point, if they've read that book and they understand it the same way that the radical Muslims understand it, at some point they're not going to be peaceful anymore, because there's nothing in their book that tells them that they can be. I mean, you have Muslim teachers that are saying, well, that's a misinterpretation, and that's not actually what that means, and this, that, and the other. So maybe that's why there are people that don't believe in it as staunchly as some of the others do. But my thing about it is, when you point blank read a book that says it's okay for you to lie to people that don't have the same beliefs as you, who the fuck are you supposed to believe? The crazy ones or the ones that are pretending they're normal? That's my problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that made Stacy speechless again. I don't do that often.
No, it's just like I sit here and I have to come to terms with the fact that there's actually a chance that Joe Biden will be reelected.
Oh, don't put that evil out there.
I'm facing the facts. I mean, you literally have the MyPillow guy at CPAC telling people not to vote early and not to vote by mail. Dude, we have to play this game by the rules on the field. We didn't make the rules on the field, because there's the rules and there's the unwritten rules. And if they're going to play by the unwritten rules, we have to do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I still firmly believe that we need. I mean, this is something. I never in my wildest dreams thought in my 16 years of doing this kind of stuff that I would ever say the sentence that I'm about to say out loud. But we need to adopt the French model when it comes to elections. National holiday, in-person, paper ballot. That's it.
Well, I mean, Israel does a very secure, like most democracies do, but I'm writing an in-depth couple of articles here for PJ about what the left is doing in red states to degrade our elections to the point that Mark Elias can sue for anything. And oddly, much of it is being funded by a Swiss billionaire.
I thought Switzerland was supposed to be neutral, bastards.
Well, let me tell you. You know, I used to say with my friend Will Hild, who runs Consumers Research Organization, that any day was a good day to slap Larry Fink in the mouth. Yeah, I'm now under the strict idea that any day is a good day to smack Mark Elias in the mouth. So anytime that I can print something about that jackass that I can back up I'm going to do it.
You're aiming too high. You're aiming too high.
I just can't have him fucking suing me.
I'm just saying I would be aiming my strikes lower.
He is the personal lawyer of said Swiss billionaire.
Oh, I know. I know why you're saying you have to tread carefully. I'm just saying I wouldn't be talking about smacking him in the mouth. I'd be talking about kicking him in the nuts.
Oh, my God. Just an awful, awful, awful human being. Terrible. The DNC fired him. How corrupt is he?
Now, there's a benchmark for you. When you've been fired from the DNC, how much slower can you go? Wow.
Exactly.
Anyway. Well, believe it or not, we're almost to the end. Any final thoughts?
Learn to bake sourdough.
That is actually...
Grow a plant you can eat.
Well, learning to bake sourdough would be a good idea for every fast food restaurant in California. Because,
why?
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. So that whole raising minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food workers, Panera Bread is exempt because they bake and sell fresh bread as a separate item, so they don't actually have to raise the minimum wage. Turns out the guy that owns like 24 Paneras in California is one of Newsom's biggest donors, so I wonder why that was put in there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, little quick funny hit on the way out because I talked about that earlier today. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, are you serious? So yeah, Panera gets to keep everybody's minimum wage at the California 16 because since they bake and sell bread, they don't have to raise it to 20. I sent myself something that I was going to try to use, but we don't have time. There was a video clip that somebody put out, and it's the California person talking about, and I don't remember her name, but she was talking about how she wants like a $50 an hour minimum wage federally, and so it cuts away to this guy sitting in a drive-thru window, and he's like, yeah, I'd like a hamburger with no cheese, which first of all, you said hamburger, so that implies no cheese, so that kind of threw me off. And then a large French fry. They're like, that'll be $737.28. Please pull forward to the first window, which will be, and you'll be taken care of by robots. I was like, yeah, that's where we're headed. Because they're going to make everything too damn expensive. People are stupid. People are stupid. All right, so where can folks find you?
Well, you're going to be able to find me at PJ Media a little more often. And, of course, you can find me at Scott Spire on Twitter being inundated with Hamasniks.
I always call them Hamasites, but whatever.
I just think Hamasniks make them sound dumb.
Yeah, kind of like beatniks. Oh. Anyway, so yeah. And don't forget tomorrow. What are you guys doing tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow we will be back with Playing in the Dirt, talking about all things natural and awesome and cool.
All right.
Well, that'll be at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Times and always, of course, available for replay.
Nice.
And Al and I are always available on X to answer any questions our listeners may have.
Look at you being all hospitable and stuff.
I'm so much happier when I'm planting my garden than I am when I'm thinking about Hamasniks.
Yeah. All right, folks, well, you can find me
It's about balance, my friend.
I haven't been able to find balance lately. I need to do that. Anyway, you can find me on social media at RowdyRick73 on most platforms. You can find me here in just a minute helping with the crew of the Toxic Masculinity Show, which we do once a month. Then I'll be producing for the Ladies of the Red Wine after that. And then Ordy and I may or may not be your nightcap. Apparently, he is still working on his computer, so we'll see if he manages to get all that put together tonight. And then when I'm not doing all that, you can find me as the executive producer of the Office Party podcast. You can find me tomorrow night doing the Jen and Rick show. You can find me Friday night filling in for Mickey Botorch on the He Said, She Said So. Saturday night, as long as Orty has his computer back together, should be regularly scheduled juxtaposition night. We are still going to do the makeup on the Atlanta show we didn't get to do 2 weeks ago. And when I'm not doing all that, you can find me as a contributor at Misfits Politics as well as Twitchy.com. And we got to go because I'm almost out of breath from telling you all my shit. I really got to find a way to balance this stuff better. This month has killed me. Doesn't help that it's a short month though either. Bye everybody.
To be whatever I